Greetings my friends, Jason Archer here with another quick tutorial. This one we're going to discuss how to autoplay a YouTube video when you embed it in the code of your website. So I'm just going to continue working with the same website I've been going with so far, and I'll just show you here briefly that as this page is loaded up, this video here, what we want to have happen is when the page loads, it wants to start playing by itself. So I'm just going to reload this page so that you can see that when the page loads up, the video itself does not start playing. So all I want to do is change that behavior. So I'm going to go behind the scenes and I'm going to bring up that particular page and I'm going to play around with the code just a little bit. Let's see if we can find it here. Okay, now this particular tutorial again is just regarding the autoplay of a YouTube video, and the code that we're going to work with will actually work on any web page. The editor that you see in front of you is the WordPress administrative editor, so you can ignore that or not. Just know that the code that we're going to be working with, and I'll separate that out, will in fact work on any web page once you've embedded it. So I'll just break this apart. First part here, the video embed code begins here with the object class ID, and it runs all the way down to the /object tag, which you see here. So everything between that is responsible for embedding the video on the page. Now when you're on YouTube, you can actually right click on any YouTube video and you can say copy embed HTML, and when you do that, what you copy is actually this selected text that you're seeing right now on your screen. So let me just make this window just a little bit larger for ease of use here. Okay, and go back to the HTML side. So again, right click any YouTube video and you will then have the option to copy this embed code from the video itself. And then you simply paste it into whatever web page. So here we are with WordPress, and what I'm looking for are a couple of things. We've got object, we've got all this funky looking stuff in here, and if we break it out, we can simplify it a bit. So there's a param that starts there, which is just short for parameter. These are all parameters that are being passed to the browser window. Just want to separate this out to make a little more sense of it for you, until finally we get to the embed section, okay, and the end embed section. This is the section I'm concerned with, the beginning embed part to the ending embed part, because from within this URL that I'm selecting now is responsible for the player and how it looks once it is placed onto your web page. So in this scenario, I'm just going to break this apart. Basically, we're telling the browser to embed a flash video. We want it to embed it with these dimensions. Oh, by the way, browser, here's the source of the content. So that's what all this link is right here. And that's all I'm going to go into with that. Now, what I want to do is break the source, this little section, break this little section apart so that you can actually make sense of it. Because in reality, to embed the video, all we really need is the highlighted section that you see there. Everything that comes after that is a parameter that's being passed into your browser window, and it tells the Flash player how to actually play the video. Okay, so for example, we've got this little section here, and ampersand colon, then we've got a color. We've got another ampersand colon, another color, another ampersand colon, a language, another ampersand colon, a featured player, a detail page, etc., etc., right on down the line. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to add one more variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the end of the URL, and the URL begins where the first quotation mark is, the HTTP, and the actual URL itself ends before the first ampersand, which starts right here. Okay, everything after this little section here, everything after this, all of this stuff that you see here is a parameter or a set of parameters that's being passed again into the player to tell the player how to behave. So we're going to add one more. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add another ampersand. So ampersand amp semicolon. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this code here, ampersand amp semicolon, is the HTML code for the actual ampersand symbol. Okay, and that's just a new XML specification that basically says, hey, use the actual character code as opposed to the character. Okay, so ampersand amp semicolon, when rendered on the browser window, would actually render an ampersand. However, because this is in the code, it's just going to render behind the scenes an ampersand. So then I'm going to put the variable autoplay. Okay, that's the name of it. Now I'm going to set it equal to something. I'm going to set it equal to 1. Okay, and to be honest with you, I can't remember if autoplay equals 1 causes it to autoplay, or if autoplay equals 0 causes it to autoplay. A lot of times when guys are writing codes, instead of using yes or no or y or n, they will actually use 1 or 0 to cause an action to be positive or negative. Usually 0 is no and 1 is yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this and just see if that is in fact the correct way to do it. And we'll go back to the front side and reload the page. Okay, so that's updated. We'll go back to the front side. Let's reload this page and see what happens.
Welcome to the short sale section of PhoenixRealEstateCorner.com.
And as you can see, the video does now autoplay, so it is in fact autoplay equals 1. So that's the solution to this particular problem. And I'll just pause this and go back one more time just to reiterate. All I did again was I found the URL itself, and I realized that where the ampersand begins, that's where all of the variables come into play. Okay, and all I did was I added one variable right here. That's all it takes. Simply update it and you're good to go. So you could take that technique and apply it again to any web page code. Again, this only happens in the HTML side of things. You can't use a visual editor to make this happen. But it will apply to every website that uses HTML. So the fact that I'm using the WordPress editor here, don't let that throw you off. This will in fact work across the board. So that's it for this time. Take care. This is Jason Archer signing off.